Hey-ho, let's go. Hope everyone is well. Welcome to Pugsley's Pit on the Super Bowl edition of the show. I am Sean Pugsley Martin. This is episode 85 of Pugsley's Pit, and as we always do, we start each show by asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here? Boom, where'd it go? I am not in Super Bowl form. How awful of me. Booyah!
Right
here, right now. I'm so nervous because we got the icons, the kings of Radio Row coming to us from Vegas.
Should we get out of the way? Are they sitting here?
No.
They just kicked Taylor Swift out of their booth because they were doing a Radio Row interview.
We'll get to her today. Super Bowl edition is always, by the way, you can follow the show on Twitter, Pugsley Spit, taking the podcast on YouTube. And remember, my 7-year-old boys, he was even saying it during his projectile vomiting at midnight Sunday morning. Ooh. Smash that like button and subscribe to watch all future episodes. Back in the pit today, co-host Mr. Mike Nelson, an all-star lineup. Levack Gozz joining us. OFX Radio Albany, 95.9 FM, 980 AM. And I am jealous. I applied for the sound manager gig in Vegas this week. Didn't happen.
You wanted to get paid. What were you thinking?
Chris Vitali from ball9.com will be coming in. He's trying to raft from his living room to his office with the rain floods they have out in the LA area. And before we get started, Levack, you might be interested in this. I told Gozz the other night, I don't know if Josh McDaniels is still living out there, but I'm putting up a personal bounty of my own money. Somebody wants to deposit a carton of
$100 of my own money.
Out there. And I could say that risk-free because nobody watches this show.
Would you turn into Reg McLeish? $100 of my own money.
$100 of my own money.
No, his name
guys,
was,
first of all,
he's like Voldemort out here. I haven't heard his name until just then.
Good. How is Veo? Here comes Mr. Vitali. Chris, how you doing?
I had a little trip to hair and makeup myself. Sorry.
Gilligan.
I did an hour and a half of hair and makeup today to get ready for it.
Where do you keep it?
It's on
the floor. It was 100%. It was 100% makeup time.
Pretty much.
He's got a girl one of those giant puff balls every 35 minutes on the coming soon to this great show.
How's Vegas treating you guys? Ross Tucker was an awesome guest. He got me thinking of something my wife for Valentine's Day other than getting, a handmade card for my kids.
So far, I mean, there's a lot of the logistics that I've been picking at a little bit because, well, I'm old and fat now and I like to be taken care of. But financially, I'm doing well, and all the money Gozz has been losing, I've been able to pick back up for him. So it's been a good trip for me so far.
I think he meant Radio Row. Radio Row is going well. The guests have been fun. There's been a lot of celebrities throughout. Usually Thursday and Friday gets more and more packed, but even this Monday and Tuesday, we see a lot more markets. It almost feels like it's fully back from COVID. It's been a weird 3 years, but it feels like it's officially living again here in Las Vegas, Radio Row.
So speaking of outside Radio Row, Mr. Levack, what were you saying? Guys are struggling in the entertainment aspect of your business trip?
Listen, if you listen to the play of the day or fantasy versus reality, any of our wager-based segments, he's terrible at it. And I've asked him to quit for the well-being of his family. But even since we've been here, I think, what have you cashed one ticket?
I've cashed 2 tickets. One, the book wasn't closed. I haven't won a lot, and I've been using my money on alcohol, which I've realized now is much more expensive than I budgeted for. But
I called him over today. We were walking over here, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down, throw a little. There's slot machines everywhere. You can't sneeze without a slot machine being there. So I just threw a ticket in real quick, hit it. All of a sudden, the big feature kicks up. I'm like, come here, see this. He's like, I don't know what's happening, but it's amazing. And, a couple bucks on the way over. And, now lunch will still be on Gozz, but, I could pay for myself if I had to.
Well, it's a business expense. I would think all sort of meals and entertainment. As a bookkeeping professional of 30 plus, 518 bookkeeping would tell you, you can slide that under the radar as a little business expense. Just submit it. And,
just make sure the receipt says steakhouse and not spearmint rhinos. That's it's hard to get that one through.
If you need a good whiteout guy, I'm your man.
All right.
I've been to some places that they show up as like flower shops and whatnot, and it's just always like, and it's always fun to explain that one. When did you go to a flower shop? No, I swear it was a strip club.
Let's get to the game, guys. Amazingly, look, I hate the Chiefs. I'll never root for them a day in my life. They're the underdogs here. I got a hard time squaring going against the Chiefs getting points. Give me a key matchup. Chris, let's start with you. Key matchup in this game, as you see it.
The Chiefs defense, man. I just think they're better than they get credit for. It's just I'm with you. I mean, it's not that I hate the Chiefs. I'm just kind of tired of them. So I don't know if that falls in the same category as hatred. With you being a Raiders fan and you having that AFC West kind of
vitriol
for them.
Vitriol Levack too.
Word, yeah, and so I don't know, man. I want to, in my heart, say, I mean, I'm a Dallas fan, so I mean, I don't want to root for the Niners either. This is just one of those games where I'm like, I mean, part of me is I might turn the Puppy Bowl on at halftime and just leave it. But I mean, I don't know. I do think
that's the Roddy.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to a last field. That's why I'm saying 24-21. Harrison Butker's been there before, and I just think that Chiefs defense is gonna kind of contain guy like Debo, probably McCaffrey. Saw McCaffrey get a little bit contained not last week, but it'll be 2 weeks ago. Touchdown, of course. But I don't know. I have a hard time betting against the Chiefs just because they have so much damn experience being in the game. And as much as I don't want to see it, and as much as I'd love to see a tie, and nobody wins, I think we know that's not going to happen. So I'm going to say Harrison Butker kicks the last-second field goal, 24-21. Actually, I'm absolutely wrong. He misses a last-second field goal. Niners win 24-21.
Niners. That's I thought you had.
It was a typo. I actually meant the Chiefs 24-21, but I figured if you made the graphic, I'll stick with the Niners. So it kind of screwed up my entire plan. All right, well, somebody's going to win 24-21. I don't really care who it is.
Bet the under.
I'm going for take that and you're good. And let's hope the Puppy be a good one. That's all I got for this. I don't know.
Guys, how about you? The last time the Chiefs got housed in this game, it was your Buccaneers. What do you see here? What does Frisco have to do to make that result the same?
Yeah, I think you must have been thinking the same thing I was there about that defensive line. The Buccaneers were so good in that Super Bowl, getting pressure on Mahomes. For so many years, the Super Bowl storyline is get pressure on Tom Brady. Yeah, everyone tried that for 20 years, and it really didn't work as well as they hoped. But Mahomes was different. He really struggled in that game against Tampa. The same thing can be set up for this game for San Francisco. They went out and brought in Chase Young. We know about Bosa up front. That's a strong defensive line for the Niners. And on the opposite side of that, this is something that I think even the most diehard football fans haven't talked about as a storyline. The Chiefs do have two offensive tackles that weren't on the team last season. They're both new. And one of them, Donovan Smith, is a Buccaneer fan. I watched him constantly hold people over and over and over again. It's going to be interesting how they officiate on the outside with those two offensive tackles. I think that storyline is up front. Can they contain the Niners defensive line, the Kansas City Chiefs O-line, the big guys up front, of course?
Well, Nick Bosa called them out the other day, and let me tell you something. You watch a Chief Raider game, Levack, you may be able to attest to me. Max Crosby gets tackled than anybody else with the football from Kansas City whenever they play.
Yeah, Crosby he's a beast. He's actually he's hosting his podcast at a restaurant we walk by on our way here every day on Wednesday. So we're gonna try and sneak in and make friends with the Condor. But it is interesting to have that kind of defensive front that the Niners have. The back of the baseball card, if you will, would think you dominate, and they haven't. So I don't know, like, if you can flip that switch before the Super Bowl and get that done or not. But it is definitely should be a bigger story to have those kind of bookends and not be able to get after the quarterback any better than they do.
Yeah, Mike, how about you? What are you looking for here on Sunday?
For me, it's the Chiefs' defensive line against the Niners' run game. The Chiefs are as good as Spags has that defense playing. They're not great against the run. It's still an enigma why the Ravens ran the ball 6 times. But if they can control if the defensive line, specifically the tackles, can control the interior part of that really good San Francisco line and contain the running game, then when Spag starts blitzing and making Brock Purdy's head spin around like he's in The Exorcist, it's going to be a really difficult road for Frisco if he's got to drop back 45 times.
Oh yeah,
that's not a good thing. So, I mean, I think it all comes down to the Chiefs' defensive line and whether they can stop the running game. And if they can, then again, I don't care who wins. Frankly, I don't want to pick the Chiefs because I got a little bit of fatigue. I've learned my lesson. I'm not picking against Mahomes until somebody eviscerates that dude and he's not in the league anymore, because I'm done. I'm done trying to figure out whether he's going to win a game or not. He just, I don't know. He's like Chris Angel. You guys should probably check him out while you're out there.
The thing with Mahomes, I don't want the Chiefs celebrating in the Raider locker room with champagne. I'll take their tears if they lose, but not the champagne. Two things about this, and go back to, I think, that Tampa Super Bowl. San Francisco's defense, not only do they have to get to Mahomes, they have to keep him in the pocket. How many times does he break out and get a 15, 20-yard gain? But the interesting part about this, go back to the Atlanta collapse against New England and then Kyle Shanahan's play calling in 2019. He game planned himself out of 2 Super Bowl wins there by not getting away from what he did, by not running the ball and playing the clock. We'll see if he learns from that. But Mike, you brought up Mahomes. Gozz, Levack, where is Mahomes? Let's say they win this game. Where does he go now? 7 years into his career as far as all time?
It's the world is his oyster. I mean, he's legitimately doing all the things that Brady did, but somehow he's still likable. Like, obviously I want to hate the Chiefs, but for some reason, I don't know if it's the Kermit voice. I don't know if it's I look at the rest of his family and I can kind of relate because my family's a dumpster fire. I don't know what I like him, or maybe it's just my overall hatred of the Patriots, and just to see somebody come through and kind of wipe some of those records and kind of replace the dynasty. He gets them through this one, and I just don't know how you put anyone above him in modern era. He then it's the full conversation of Montana, Brady, Mahomes if he gets this one done.
Guys, how about you? What do you think?
Gozz is staring at pretty women. I didn't want to throw them under the bus.
No. These
they're
ladies
everywhere.
do look very good.
They have those in Vegas?
There's a couple. We've been having trouble finding them, but they're here today.
You should work on your trading card collection on the strip. Get the trading cards
on the streets of Albany, New York. Come on, let's focus.
I'm here. Levack said there about the era of quarterbacks. That's the best way I can think about it. It's that, look, for an older sports fan, Montana, Manning, Brady. In the NBA, it's Magic, Bird, Jordan, LeBron. What's going to happen here with Mahomes is that if you're a football fan from the ages of 6 to 14, this is your guy. And unfortunately, what's going to happen, I think, for older people like us, and we're all different ages, but eventually when the argument happens with Mahomes versus Brady, you're going to be like, well, who was stronger? Who had a better arm? Mahomes. Well, who was faster? Mahomes. Who was a better athlete? Mahomes. Wait, who had more yards and touchdowns? Mahomes. Why do you think Brady's better? Is it just Super Bowls? He's going to have stats like LeBron versus Jordan, like Bonds versus Aaron, where there's going to be a generation here. The millennials are going to have this as Mahomes is of course he's better. That's what the Super Bowl can do, because he's going to win every other argument besides, well, Brady's better because of Super Bowls. Bill Russell wins an argument because of that, and Jordan. That's where we're heading. That might fatigue all of us for the next 10 years, but I can see the year is 2034. We're sitting at the Dublin, Ireland Super Bowl, and this is what we're doing 10 years from now, talking about Mahomes.
I don't hate this plan, by the way.
No, I'm waiting for the 2035 Brazil Super Bowl.
Yes.
Ooh, you talk about some women.
Maybe by then the Jets will get there, Mike.
Well,
54-year rebuild.
You mean that's what the teams are going to fly over in, or
we gotta really?
Sorry,
this is the last week. This is honestly the last week to bring up the Jets. Yeah, somehow in the next 3 days, Aaron Rodgers is going to say something, and there's going to be 36 hours of Jet conversation in the New York market that's going to overshadow the Super Bowl, because he's going to be microdosing and give a presidential endorsement.
Run his mouth on the McAfee show. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
He's overdue for a McAfee show experience right now.
Yeah.
I'm putting that money on get arrested running publicly, licking a frog in a diaper. That's what I've got on my Rogers bingo card.
Yeah, I got that. That's a center square. It's like Paul Lynn.
Hey, guys, look, the big sidelight to this show, to this game that I love, because I'm not bothered by Taylor Swift's presence. Levack, I mean, I think it's awesome. Hey, you know what? Live your best life, kids. I can't stand your boyfriend, and I won't say his name, but good for them, right? And when you talk about someone who world is her oyster, is she the big talk in Vegas this week, or is it not a big deal?
It's almost like it's anecdotal at this point. Like you bring her up to not bring her up. Like everybody brings her up. Like, hey, I know nobody wants to talk about Taylor Swift right now, but she's in every conversation. And as a girl dad, I'm happy she's here. Like my daughter, I had to bribe her to get her into football, and she chose the team that my Raiders were playing. We were at a Ravens game. She became a Ravens fan. I still had to buy her hoodies and everything just to get her like football. The amount of dads out there right now who get to share football with their daughters because Taylor Swift likes football now, I'm a fan of it. I'm here for it. I like Goodell kind of embraced it. He's like, it's good for us. I think he's like secretly behind the scenes right now trying to like split people up, get Beyonce in with whoever, just get as many pop stars and stars from other places in as he can just to keep this wagon train rolling.
A nice little tease for Levack Gozz today. I'm convinced that there is actually a fine out there for Chiefs players if they say Taylor Swift. I'm listening to today's show, 3:00 on Apple, Spotify, and the iHeart app. I'm telling you, you're going to hear a quote from last night's opening day that will convince you that if Chiefs players say Taylor Swift, they will get fined. Listen to the clip and see if you believe my theory from last night.
Look, if you guys can find me a sports book, because she's my pick for MVP. Okay. I'll take whatever odds. I don't care. I'll wire you the cash.
Well, since we're on her, I'll give you a quick prop bet. Number of times she's on camera during the game. The over-under is 6.5.
6.5?
Yeah, I'm putting 100 on over.
Does that include post-game, I wonder?
She's going to be on 3 times before they kick the opening kick there.
Yeah. I don't know. I might take under just because it sounds like they're begging you to take the over. I always go against what they want you to do.
I don't know. The NFL seems to have 330 million reasons why this is a good thing.
I was just going to say that. I mean, no wonder Goodell is loving this. I mean, what was it? Something like 331 million in extra revenue since she's
they need it.
Up at the
NFL needs it.
And everything. I know they were really struggling.
Yeah, they were really.
I mean, it was such a struggling, fledgling league. You have the XFL, SFL uniting to take on the big bad NFL, and there you go.
Yeah,
so
they were trying.
They are no longer struggling, according to Taylor Swift.
You gotta go.
So.
Guys, we got to go. Radio Row's insane. We love you guys, but we got to jump.
hate to big league you, but we have way more important things to do. So
it's okay, man.
We just
thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have fun.
All right.
Bye.
I'll try.
Bye, guys.
That's awesome. We will. There they go. I'm glad those guys were able to come in.
And why haven't I been to the Super Bowl yet?
I don't know. They look like they're having a lot of fun. So
they do make me miss Vegas.
That's the way it goes. Christian McCaffrey. Let's talk about him for a second. What numbers does he have to put up? His over/under on yards is 91.5. He's got to sniff that, right? You said it, Mike. They can't let Brock Purdy throw the ball.
Rushing?
I think it's rushing yards.
Or is that total?
Total was even higher.
Well, total, I think, I mean, if he gets about 130 total, then they're in shape. Again,
what do you have, a buck 10 last week?
It's going to with that D line. If they can contain him, and, then you have to force passes out to, but I mean, that's the thing with the Niners. They can get you with Ayuk. They can get you with Debo. They can get you with Kittle. I mean, they have all these weapons. And, I don't know if you can stop them all. If you're putting, if you're putting a guy running around spying, on just McCaffrey and taking him up in the flats, and then you're just leaving more room over the middle of the field for some of these other weapons. So that's why I have no idea what the hell's going to happen in this game. I don't think he goes with 91.5 rushing, but I mean, I think total yards he's probably going to be somewhere around $120, $130. And that'll give him a chance to win,
Yeah. one thing I hate invoking Cam Newton's name because I think he's a fool. I think he'll do anything he can to get his name relevant. But he ripped Brock Purdy saying he wasn't one of the 10 best guys on his team. Well, he's a game manager. Well, Cam, that's his role, and he does it really well. Does he not get credit or enough credit for what he does? Because they don't need him to put up astronomical numbers to win. In fact, we've said already, if they have to do that, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
This game manager thing is a joke, first of all, because every quarterback is a game manager. They manage the game plan as it's given to them. And if they can adjust and make adjustments inside the game plan, they're managing the game. If he does what he's asked to do.
Yep.
Right? He does exactly what and if that's a game manager, then he's the best game manager in the NFL. But sadly for him, because of all the weapons and because of all the talent on that team, how he plays in this game is going to end up being what defines him. And if they lose and he has a pedestrian game, then it's going to be, well, he's the 7th pick of the draft. He's never going to, he's exactly what we thought he was. If they win and he has a pedestrian game, then it was like, well, he did what was asked of him and he didn't make a difference. If they win and he has a big game, 275, 3 touchdowns, a couple first downs on the ground, kind of what he did against Detroit. If he has that kind of game, then the entire narrative, national narrative, will shift on him.
What about, talk about an X factor? You already said the guy, Chris. If the guy I love on Frisco is Ayuk, because he's the guy that people forget. And they don't forget about him, but you can't cover everybody.
Yeah,
but he gets open. And he makes plays.
Yeah. I mean, if Purdy can find him, and like I said, I mean, if you can keep that defense honest, McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel coming out of that backfield, that's going to open up plenty for Ayuk and Kittle over the middle, and that's where Purdy, he does not miss those throws. Those little throws up the middle. He'll miss the tougher throws every now and again. It'll overthrow people and what have you, but he does not miss those throws up the middle. And if you let those guys run buck wild on you up the middle, and they're open, watch out. But when it goes back to, I don't remember who made the point earlier. Again, the Chiefs, the Chiefs' offensive line have to protect Mahomes. I think you made that point. You have to, you can't have this guy Juwan Taylor taking 15 friggin' penalties, every game, and talk about a guy who holds on every single play and he lines up in the wrong spot. If they called him, they wouldn't get a single play off in the game if they called Taylor for everything. The guy's the single most penalized player in the league, and you can see why. He could have done the amount of penalties if they decided to just throw the laundry. So I don't know. I don't think. I think that battle in the trenches, it's going to come to that. And with the Chiefs, can they stop McCaffrey? With the Niners, can they get to Mahomes and rattle him a little bit? But I don't know, man. Again, puppy bowl.
Puppy bowl.
What about Steve Spagnuolo? The guy wasn't a great head coach with the Rams, but he's a great defensive coordinator. I think the other biggest problem Frisco has, they have a few big problems in this game, is the practice fields in this, right? Distractions. They said the practice field at UNLV facility the grass was way below NFL standards. The Chiefs are practicing at the Raider facility.
Finally, a team that knows what they're doing using it.
We're talking about the Super Bowl.
Oh.
We beat the Chiefs on Christmas, by the way, in their building. The thing about the Super Bowl is, and you guys wouldn't know this because your teams haven't been in it in so long. The game is more an event now than just the game.
Wait a minute. Tampa just scored again.
It's because Bill Callahan threw it.
They just got another one.
I deserve that.
Rondé Barber just ran by my house with a football.
Anyhow, distractions on this. The most famous one I remember is Marv Levy freaking out over the hotel assignments for the Bills played the Giants. He moved his team midweek. They said it was a big off the field distraction for them. Frisco kind of has that just with the way the NFL tailors it. Is it my problem with Frisco is more has to go right for them than Kansas City. Is that accurate or no?
Well, I mean, with Kansas City, it's it always goes back to Mahomes. Even when it's going, he finds a way to make
a hell of a distraction. He's got quite a distraction too with Mahomes.
Yeah, he sure does.
Just all of a sudden, his dad winds up in jail again. With the third DUI, and I mean, it's like this week should have been about son and everything. And all of a sudden, Pat Mahomes is out there driving around like an idiot in Texas. But I mean, the Chiefs have their fair of distractions in this game too, between the Swift thing, between Mahomes' dad. So I mean, it's not like they don't have anything going on.
Okay,
we'll see who can deal with it.
It feels like this is every Super Bowl, though, right? Something happens, right? Something happens that creates a distraction usually for both teams. There's something going on. Kadarius Toney's bitching about he's not really hurt, or there's always something going on. Somebody does an interview, they say the wrong thing, and then that there always seems like there's something going on. It's really up to its leadership, right? So who can control those distractions better? Shanahan or Reed? Well, you can't pick against Reed. It's just doesn't make sense. So in the coaching battle and the control and the Chiefs have been there before. So they've dealt with all this hoopla around this game a number of times. I think that the first 10 minutes are going to tell a lot. I think the first 10 minutes are going to tell a ton. I mean, if I'm the Chiefs and I win the toss, I'm definitely deferring because I want to see what Purdy looks like right out of the jump. Like naturally he's going to be nervous. Everybody will be nervous. It's a Super Bowl, but if Purdy comes out and he's sailing all his passes and he throws an ill-advised pass and it gets picked off because of just that opening game jitters, the Chiefs could jump on them right away and the Niners could be playing uphill.
Well, you know what? And that I just got my train of thought back. Thank you. They had to do that 2 weeks in a row. They looked beaten by Green Bay, or they looked like they weren't the best team into the third period against that game. And they did not look good against Detroit for quite a while. They were able to come back. I don't think they're going to come back on the Chiefs if they dig a hole like that.
No, I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. Not that they don't have the team to be able to do it. Obviously, they've already proven that, and they're pretty resilient. And they've got a lot of guys that step up and make plays when they have to. But I think if you got to coach your way out of a situation against Andy Reid and Spagnuolo, that's not a good way. That's not a good way. That's not a great game plan, right? How they scored were okay. We'll go back and get ours. It's not a good game plan. If the Chiefs are playing downhill, that's a major problem.
Yeah.
The way Spagnuolo blitzes, man, they get a lead. He's going to be throwing 14 guys.
All over.
He'll take his chances on the penalty. He'll be throwing people from everywhere.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, we said it. If Frisco's going to win this game, they got to ball control. They got to get McCaffrey. They got to do all that. They're not going to win the game like that. Here's the thing I like talking about with the Super Bowl. Like I said, it's more of an event than a game. How do you guys feel about the extended halftime, the concert and all that stuff? I can't stand it. I want to watch football, but I get the entertainment spectacle. Chris, you're shaking your head.
I again, you know what? Normally, and I don't know, probably for the last 20-something years, that's when I don't even know about it. Unless it was Prince or, like one of those shows, then maybe. But I usually, that's what I head into the kitchen. I get the chili ready for everybody. I'm in there. I like it just for the food prep aspect for a Super Bowl party. I mean, I normally try to time it so the chili comes out into halftime every year. And, so I do all my little last minute tweaks. So I don't mind it for that. But I'd be lying if I said I've watched more than 2 or 3 halftime shows in the last 20-something years.
Yeah, give me a secret ingredient. What goes into that chili to bring it alive?
It depends. It's one of 2 things. One year is about a half a bottle of Jameson, so that helped. The other half went into us. That was the Rams tight Super Bowl. It was held at my apartment in New York City, and we probably needed the other half of that bottle for the way that game ended up. But really crappy beer, man. One really gross can of Old Milwaukee or something like that. That's my secret ingredient. I mean, because you put in the tomatoes and everything else, but you need to kind of stretch it because it's going to cook. So instead of water, a tall boy of really, really garbage beer. And,
I used to
marinate
the beans in a beer overnight.
Yeah,
before putting them in.
You just need to get that beer in there, and that's my secret. I don't know if the Jameson one was really necessary, but it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah.
And it came out great. I think that year I used venison and beef too, so it was kind of a nice mix.
Vitali's drunken stew, or drunken chili.
Well, yeah, and it wound up. And that was a kind of alarm chili, and we're sitting in my apartment, we're watching that game, we're watching the second half, we're eating that chili. You had a bunch of guys, a couple of my buddies were up from down south, and another buddy of mine was there. He was from Boston. He played drums in the mighty Boston's, and we're all sitting there, we're crying. We're just sweating and crying, and it was disgusting. It was like 7 grown men just ah, but no one wanted to be the first guy to put it down, out of spite, I guess. So that was the Jameson Spite chili. But so yeah, I would just say go easy on the habaneros. If you're using habaneros, just use one. I think that you're. Yeah, I mean, and I only had one bathroom in that place, so it was a thing, man. It was right. I think it was right after Nair reached out, couldn't get that last yard at the end of that game, or whoever that was that had the ball. There was a line in my bathroom. Coming out of my bathroom
you need the old Home Depot. You need the old Home Depot 5-gallon orange bucket.
I have 2 of those in my garage.
Fire escape, absolutely.
Exactly.
just get out on the fire escape and do it.
Mike, what's your go-to Super Bowl food?
It's chili. I'll make chili Sunday. Little ghost pepper for a nice little kick upside of the head, sneaky kick in the head, little ghost pepper powder. Also a beer. I've tried it with Guinness. That doesn't pair well with.
No, it doesn't overpowering in chili.
It's a little overpowering with any tomato base.
Yeah.
But I think I'll go turkey chili.
A ground gravy thing, yeah.
I think I'll go turkey chili and soak because turkey absorbs the flavor better than beef for me because it's such a light meat, and I'll soak that in a little concoction of probably a PBR tall boy and some jalapeno ghost pepper mix so the meat's nice and spicy, and then fire it up Saturday and let it sit in the crock pot for a day, and then Monday will suck, frankly. Monday will be terrible.
Here's a good thing for chili, just for you guys. A little bit really refined up, diced up pepperoni is good, and also Montreal steak seasoning.
In the chili?
In the chili.
I've never heard of such a thing.
For me, I go to brown up a couple.
Montreal steak seasoning, but
it's a little different, but it's good. For me, I like to go with a couple pounds of ground beef, 90% or more, mix in some taco seasoning, little like we used to do in Plattsburgh, Mike. Mix it in a casserole dish, some refried beans. The key thing, other than actually being, of course, well stocked with toilet paper, the Ortega taco sauce. I said it on last year's show. The Ortega taco, not salsa, the sauce. Big difference. It's a winner. You can't go wrong. You got the Ortega taco.
Yeah, the refried bean dip is a really good call.
Yeah, throw it in the oven, 20 minutes, melt some cheese. You're awesome. Mix it with a beverage of your choice. Can't go wrong.
We'll probably throw a little buffalo chicken dip into the mix this year too. I'm sure, just because we've got a millennial crowd. That's their go-to. That's their go-to.
Yeah.
The funny part about our house is my wife loves the halftime show, right? Jesus. And no disrespect to Usher.
That's who it's for.
That's who it's for.
Yeah.
No offense intended, Usher, but I'm a Pink Floyd and Christmas music guy. The only Usher I know is a guy who escorts me to my seat at the baseball game and then comes back 6 innings later and asks me to leave because I've had too many drinks. Right. So, sorry, but that's kind of what it is for me. But you're right. It's a global event.
He'll put a great show on. He's a performer, but they do have, so there is an ace in the hole. Like they have like the Mariano Rivera available that if the show's kind of going off the rails, can they go into the suite and pull Taylor out for two songs to rescue it? Like, can they drag her out to rescue it? Like, for honest to God, after Prince's halftime show, every single one of them has sucked since then.
It's been a letdown. You're right.
It's the greatest halftime show I've ever. Paul McCartney was great. Michael Jackson was great. Prince is the greatest for me. Prince is the greatest halftime show in the history of the Super Bowl. And
absolutely,
they literally, he could have played another hour. I would have been fine.
Yeah.
Do the announcers matter to you guys? They do to me. I'm old fashioned. I miss Pat Summerall and John Madden. Jim Nance has kind of jumped the shark for me a little bit, but Nance and Romo get the call.
We were spoiled with Summerall and Madden when we were younger.
Yep.
Right?
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Kirk Gowdy, and Al DeRogatis.
Al DeRogatis.
Absolutely. Even getting Al Michaels in there was all right. It's like, I don't know. And again, I'm a Cowboys fan, so it's like I don't want to crap on Romo, but I don't know. He's getting. I don't know. I think they need to keep him. It's Vegas. They need to keep him away from the cocaine, man, because he gets a little too excited. He starts making those noises. Ooh, Jim! Oh, it's like, oh God.
You know what? Really, it's funny because when Romo first came on the scene, I really liked him because I liked.
Yeah,
it was a different way of looking at the game.
Yep.
But seeing Romo and Greg Olsen back to back last week.
Oh,
Romo's sloppy. Like it's almost like he's not prepared. He's not taking it seriously. Greg Olsen's phenomenal.
Romo, but see, he has bad games too. Honestly,
they all do.
He can get a little off the rails too. But I believe it or not, I think Tony Romo, that was the best game he did all year last week. I think he was actually on, like, analyzing the defenses and everything he was doing. I was like, wow, he doesn't sound like he's just mailing it in today.
Right.
Maybe they told him, stay sober or get pulled over. But because I don't know, man. It's like he didn't have that. He wasn't embracing that kind of just wacky. I tell you, Jim. That kind of.
I thought Romo was better when he first started. I watched his first ever broadcast regular season. The Raiders were playing in Tennessee, and he was calling out the plays when they were lining up, and that he just knew was coming. We don't see that anymore. Maybe they told him to knock it off. I don't know why.
I think they might have. No, I know. I think they might have. And I don't know.
As long as Jim Nance doesn't announce before the game that this is his last NFL broadcast, and he's teary-eyed at the end of the broadcast, like during the Final Four, and I don't know. He's too much. Nance is too much. He adds additional drama to things that are already dramatic. It's almost overstating the drama, and it's probably because he's been on everything for so long that we probably all just want a fresh voice. Kind of way I felt about. I'm the same way about Joe Buck. And now that you see him less, I like him more.
Yeah, same here. That's interesting. You say that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Buck and Aikman are probably the top team in doing it now.
Probably.
I think so.
Aikman just calls out, and that's what I mean. Anytime you watch a national broadcast, team, you always think that the broadcast booth is against your team. It's just the nature of the beast. They all think like, oh, he's a Cowboy homer. Aikman is not afraid to call the Cowboys out on their garbage, man. And actually, I think he likes it. Maybe when he plays the Giants, he kind of gets a little Cowboys homerish. But aside from that, it's I love those guys. And Buck is like you said, Mike. Maybe it's seeing him less, but I have no problem with Joe Buck. People bitch him on when he's calling a World Series.
I like Joe Buck.
I like Buck doing a World Series. I really do. I think he's good at what he does. He tries to be neutral. He's not too Mahomes. He's goofy, sure, he's goofy, but that's your shtick. So
Yeah.
I don't mind Joe Buck whatsoever.
Hey, guys, I got a couple exotics here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I'd rather see them than Romo and Nat. That's all.
Yeah.
I have a couple exotics here I want to run by you. Number one, I just have a gut feeling this year it's going to be tails. Put it down. Three exotics I like. I love Mahomes over 25.5 rushing yards. That's 2 scrambles for him. Mahomes and Purdy over 50 rushing yards, and Kittle over 47.5 receiving. By the way, McCaffrey's 91.5 rushing, and I think I saw 32.5 or 31.5 receiving. To answer that question.
So it is right about 120 then total yards.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, tails are fast. Mahomes will definitely run for 25 yards. He'll probably run more than that from Joey Bosa chasing him around in the backfield, and then he takes off. So he'll get the ones that I count. Right there. I don't know about Purdy's rushing yards. We'll see. And then the other ones, I say take him. Although I say take below the 91 for McCaffrey. That's me.
Same here. Mike, what about you?
Well, I got over 90.5 seconds for Reba McEntire for the national anthem. There's no way she's not going to stretch that out to closer to 2 minutes. It's impossible. I've got the over-under on number of players that throw a pass is 2.5, and I've got over because you've got 2 coaches that somebody else is throwing a pass in this game. There's no way it's not happening because you've got 2 coaches that have that trick in their bag, and they'll use it. Shanahan could use it on the first play. He could literally have Debo throw a pass on the first play, literally. Like, I wouldn't shock me in the most.
Yeah.
I've got under 2 missed field goals, though I think Moody's going to miss one for sure. And I've got no for Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift after the game.
Very interesting. I
got no on that one. My last one is I'm under 1.5 interceptions. I think it's going to be a clean game.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a clean game. If it's over 1.5, whichever one of those quarterbacks throws 2 picks, their team's losing.
The other thing I want to get to before we get to predictions, Chris, you gave us ours, but what's your best Super Bowl memory? Not necessarily for your team. What's your favorite Super Bowl memory? Mike, you can start.
Well, the Niners Bengals game 1, or the Niners Chargers Super Bowl, I should say, won me an incredible amount of money.
Yes.
Like a ridiculous amount of money. And at the time, it was a really ridiculous amount of money, given where I was. And not only did that game win me a lot of money, but at the party that I was at, I hit 3 squares at the party that I was at for another like $500. So my favorite Super Bowl memory is my first Super Bowl memory, and it's why I'm a Jet fan. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Super Bowl memory. It didn't kill me when Norwood missed wide right. That didn't hurt me one bit. Gary Premian trying to throw a pass. That's a pretty good Super Bowl memory.
That was my first Super Bowl. Was that game?
But the Niners waxing the Chargers that's my favorite Super Bowl of all time, and it's purely selfishly financial.
Chris, how about you?
Probably I will go with my team, but probably 1995 when Dallas won the third in 4 years, and I just I was a 22, 23-year-old kid, and I just kind of thought that they were just going to keep that train rolling.
Yeah.
And then this stretch happened. So that was like my last real good memory of football in general. It just so happened to be it was after Super Bowl third. So I'm going to just go with that. And then, and I'll never forget, like Barry Switzer's, Barry Switzer took that team. It was Jimmy Johnson's team. We all know that. But, he took them, they won one, and Michael Irvin, this was before they got 7-second delay. And Michael Irvin gets on the mic with, he puts his arm around Barry Switzer, and he's like, they give his man all the shit. Give a man his due. And, everybody's like, clutching their pearls. So, and then, I guess it's the curse of Mike Irvin, because it's been 30 years almost. So, so that was just, like I said, it was probably my best Super Bowl memory, but also my last joyous moment in football.
For me, my best Super Bowl 11. I was living, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes south of Oakland in the Bay Area. The Raiders won. I'd gone to a game that year, the last home game, the Monday night game against Cincinnati that was big. After they beat the Vikings, me and my friend Jeff Perry drove our bikes around San Lorenzo, California, lighting off and throwing fireworks all over the street. So without blowing our hands off. What's the guy? Jean-Pierre Paul? Yeah, without an incident.
Yeah.
Is that the game where Sammy White's head came off?
Yes.
Like I literally thought his head was in his helmet when he got hit coming across the middle.
Helmet rolling around.
Yeah, 32 got him. But I'll tell you, he held on to the ball. That was a catch.
He was a great receiver, man.
He held on to the ball. You got to give him credit for that.
He was a really good receiver.
Chris, give me you gave it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me change Vitali's graphic here since I spent 30 seconds on him. Let's get it right.
Well, I would put a big question mark after mine.
Jesus, you're flip-flopping like a politician.
I mean, it's like I said, somebody's going to win 24-21. That's my prediction. My opinions have been swayed. That's what these shows are supposed to be, aren't they? My opinions have now been called into question, and now I'm thinking more along the lines of the Niners can win. So I don't freaking know, man.
You need to change that to Team A 24, Team B 21. That's what.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. That's really what it is. Somebody gets 24, somebody 21. It's going to be decided on a last-second field goal, and either that Moody guy is going to miss one and tie the game, or Butker's going to hit one and win the game. So, one kicker 24, the other one zilch. I don't know.
All right, we'll go with that. Mike, what about you? Well, that's okay, Chris. Go for it.
No, I got Chiefs 23-17.
Okay.
I mean, 3 field goals.
Is this better, Chris? Yeah. So excited we knocked his camera off.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm getting too excited. I like Team A 24, Team B 21. Thank you to Mike Nelson for that.
Yeah, sure. That's that is. I'm gonna put that up at the pregame show on CBS. Team A.
Mike 23-17. Why?
I mean, I think it's going to be a tight game, and number 16 is going to find a way.
15,
16, whatever it takes. I think Mahomes is going to find a way.
Whatever it takes.
That's how his dad failed that test the other night. What number is your son? 16. No, yeah. That's Len Dawson.
Yeah, he failed that test because he's like, I'm Pat Mahomes. Can you arrest me? Yeah, clearly a Houston Texans fan was the cop that pulled him over.
Must have been.
No, I think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be tight throughout. And if it's going to be tight throughout, when the Niners are sputtering on third down and have to punt, then the Chiefs are going to find a way to get into field goal range. And I don't think Butker hasn't missed a playoff field goal since they got in, for God's sake. So he'll make 3 field goals and they'll get out of there.
Here's the way I see it. Since it came out, I've been on the Niner bandwagon. I think they've been the best team all year. This is not the best Chiefs team that's gone to the Super Bowl during this run. And I hate the Chiefs, but too often rooting against them or the teams that I loathe, which are 30 teams in the league, my bitterness gets skewed. And I don't have much of a reputation left in this sort of thing of predictions. But am I really going to risk myself with the millions of people watching this show and wake up Monday morning and said, I took a team with Brock Purdy over a team with Pat Mahomes? I hope I'm wrong. I don't want the Chiefs to win again because there's a kid at my boy's school that every time the Chiefs win, he comes out in his Pat Mahomes jersey on Monday. And my boys have given him free pass. If you want to tackle him in the snowbank, go ahead. I'll take a couple of days off if he gets suspended. Do they suspend second graders?
Maybe you should show up in a red Hawaiian shirt and a cheesy mustache and go as Big Red.
Could do that. Who's your MVPs in this game? Chris, Team A's kicker?
Team A's kicker. No. It'll be. You know what? If Team A happens to be the Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco.
Good pick.
Because he runs like he wants to hurt somebody, and he's looking for contact, and Rutgers guy, so I like him. I'm going Isaiah Pacheco. He's going to be the unsung hero, and maybe the sung hero if he wins the MVP.
Mike, who's your MVP?
I'm going with Travis Kelce.
His name is banned from the show.
I know.
Come on.
I'm
out.
I think he's going to have a huge game. I think he's going to have a huge game, and I know the Niners linebackers are some kind of special.
That's the name I wanted. I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to get Fred Warner's name into this broadcast. He is one of my favorite non-Raiders to watch.
Yeah,
he's a great linebacker, and I don't know what assignment he's going to draw, but he's a stud.
Well, either way, for Chris's pick and my pick, the Chiefs are going to have to find a way to control him.
Yep.
Because if he's having a monster game, Pacheco's going to have a major problem. And if the Chiefs are running that intermediate short passing game, and he gets the assignment on Kelce, the Chiefs could have a big problem. They are really, really good at linebacker. Really good at linebacker.
Yep.
So but like I said last week, the whole world knows where the Chiefs are going to throw the ball, and they still throw it there, and they still complete it.
We going to see a lot of this then on Sunday?
We'll see it once. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely see it once. The question is it going to be once too many?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to keep going. I can't use that much longer.
No, he was great in the skills competition though.
I mean, I'll pick Mahomes as MVP because if I think they're going to win, he's probably going to get it. So we'll take the chalk. But God, please give San Francisco this win. I don't want the Chiefs celebrating on our field in our locker room. I'll tell you, like I said before, I want their tears on that rug, not the champagne.
Yeah, well, look at it's the best chance of any team celebrating in that locker room for a long time is if the Chiefs win, dude.
We'll be there next year.
Yeah, with JJ McCarthy as your quarterback.
No.
The JJ McCarthy era will start.
No, I don't want that.
Too.
I don't want that. All right, boys. Now that I'm upset again. Next week, Super Bowl recap. And guys, even having Chris here for this announcement is awesome. Pitchers and catchers.
Yes.
It's coming. I don't know if I'm ready, but let's do it.
Let's get ready. Let's get ready.
The Bellinger watch starts the 13th of February. That's when it really starts.
Yeah, he's going back to the Twins. Yeah, he's going back to the Cubs, but we'll wait till next week for that.
Exactly.
He's gonna get another 1-year deal to make sure that last year wasn't fluke, and then we'll go for the big money.
All right, Chris, hang out for a minute, okay? All right. Okay. We'll see everybody next week.
Out. Smash the like button. Subscribe.
All that stuff.